It starts as something small, a burn you try to ignore, a sting that makes you shift in your seat pretending everything is fine while the pain quietly grows inside you. You tell yourself it's just irritation, maybe something you ate. You try to move on. But the next morning it's there again. The sting turns into pressure, the pressure into fire. And before you realize it, the pain explodes. For many people, this is how it begins, silently, stubbornly, shamefully. A discomfort that steals small pieces of comfort each day. Sitting becomes a negotiation, standing a relief. Even laughter sometimes comes with a twinge of fear. You don't talk about it, few do, because the pain feels too personal, too embarrassing to share. But here's the truth I want you to understand tonight. That pain does not start where you feel it. It doesn't begin on the surface. It doesn't begin in the veins you can't see. It begins inside you, in a place most people never think about. It begins in your gut. I've been a proctologist for over 2 decades. I've seen thousands of people walk into my office with the same expression, part frustration, part confusion. They've tried creams, pills, even surgeries. They've changed chairs, adjusted diets, bought expensive cushions, but the pain always finds its way back. And every time the pattern is the same. Their gut is inflamed. Their digestion is weak. Their internal balance, the very chemistry that keeps tissues healthy, is burning out. You see, your gut isn't just a digestive tube. It's a living, breathing ecosystem. It holds trillions of bacteria, enzymes, and immune cells that speak directly to your blood vessels, your hormones, even your brain. When it's calm, your body heals easily. But when it's inflamed, your whole system becomes a battlefield. Imagine your gut as the soil of a garden. If the soil is dry, acidic, and full of toxins, nothing grows right. Every plant, every leaf, every root suffers, not because of what's above, but because of what's beneath. Now your rectal veins, the ones that swell and ache when you have hemorrhoids, are like the roots of that garden. They depend entirely on the health of the soil. If your gut is toxic, the roots inflame. If your gut is balanced, the roots heal. That's why so many treatments fail. Because they focus only on the symptom, the burning, the itching, the swelling, and ignore the root. You might be thinking, but I eat well, I don't have gut problems. Here's the hard truth. Inflammation doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers. It shows up as fatigue after meals, as bloating you call normal, as mood swings you blame on stress, as hemorrhoids that flare without warning. These are not isolated problems. They're messages, your body's way of saying something deeper needs attention. In medicine, we now understand a fascinating link called the gut-hemorrhoid axis. It's the biological pathway that connects your intestinal health to the veins and tissues around your rectum. When your gut is inflamed, it releases cytokines, chemical messengers that trigger swelling in distant tissues. These molecules travel through your bloodstream, quietly reaching your pelvic veins. And there they create the perfect storm: weakened tissue, poor circulation, and chronic pressure. So even if you apply creams or use ointments that soothe the outside, the fire inside keeps burning. When I explain this to my patients, something changes in their eyes. It's the moment they realize that what's happening to them is not random, it's logical, it's not a curse, it's chemistry. Your gut and your rectum are part of the same story. And that story is written every day by the choices you make, what you eat, how you move, what you think, and even what you ignore. I know this may sound daunting, but here's the good news. You can change that story. You can rewrite it, not with complicated treatments or endless medications, but by removing the mistakes that silently destroy your gut from the inside out. Because what if your pain wasn't just a punishment, but a signal, a message from your body asking for a different way of living? In this video, I'm going to reveal the 3 biggest mistakes that cause this silent destruction. The same mistakes I see in nearly every patient who struggles with chronic hemorrhoids. They might seem harmless, even ordinary, but together they create the perfect environment for inflammation to thrive and pain to return. So if you've ever wondered why nothing seems to work, this is the missing link. Before we go deeper, take a moment, breathe, notice your body. If you've been living with this pain for too long, you owe yourself the truth. Not another temporary fix, but the real understanding of where it starts. And once you know that, healing becomes not only possible, but inevitable. Stay with me until the end of this video, because by the time we finish, you'll understand what truly drives your pain, and more importantly, what can finally end it for good. Not by fighting your body, but by working with it. Because healing doesn't begin when the pain stops. It begins when you finally understand where it starts. You've probably heard it your whole life. You are what you eat. But no one ever said where that truth begins. The gut isn't just a digestive passage, it's a command center. Every cell that lines your intestines speaks to the rest of your body in real time. It decides what enters your blood, what stays out, and how your immune system reacts to everything you touch, taste, and breathe. When this inner system works well, your body feels light, calm, and balanced. When it doesn't, chaos follows. It's like running a city with broken traffic lights. Messages collide, defenses overreact, and inflammation spreads through every street of your body. Inside that chaos lives a forgotten ecosystem, your microbiome. Trillions of tiny organisms that quietly keep you alive, digesting, protecting, repairing. They are the unseen architects of your health. But when modern life interferes, processed foods, sugar, stress, antibiotics, sleepless nights, that delicate ecosystem collapses. The balance shifts, harmful bacteria rise, the protective ones fade, and your gut begins to attack itself. When that happens, the body sends distress signals through the bloodstream. Chemical messengers called cytokines and histamines flow freely, shouting inflammation to every organ they pass. One of the first places they reach is the network of veins surrounding your rectum, the same veins that swell into painful hemorrhoids. This is the invisible connection most people never see, the gut hemorrhoid axis. When your gut inflames, pressure builds. The veins below respond, expanding, weakening, breaking. You might think your problem is local, that it's just there, but it's not. The fire started far higher, deep in your intestines, days or even weeks before the pain appeared. That's why ointments and ice provide only short relief, because you're cooling the smoke, not extinguishing the fire. I've watched people chase relief for years, switching remedies like desperate travelers searching for shade in a desert. But the truth is, unless the gut calms, the pain will always find its way back. Your gut is not just another organ. It's the origin of your chemistry, the place where nutrients become hormones, where immunity is trained, where blood vessels learn to expand and repair. Every meal, every emotion, every night of poor sleep leaves a signature there, and yet we treat it like a machine that can be ignored until it breaks. When the gut inflames, the intestinal wall, a thin living membrane, begins to leak microscopic particles into the bloodstream. Your immune system panics, mistaking them for invaders. It floods your body with defense molecules that don't know when to stop. The result? Chronic inflammation, poor tissue repair, and the perfect setup for hemorrhoidal veins to swell. This is not coincidence. It's biology. Every flare-up down there begins up here. Now imagine what happens if that process repeats for years. The veins in your rectal canal, already delicate, lose strength. They swell faster. They heal slower. Eventually, even the smallest irritation, sitting too long, eating too much, skipping water for a day, feels like fire. But if you restore the gut, everything changes. When the inflammation subsides, the veins recover, the pressure lowers, the tissue regenerates naturally. That's the beauty of the gut. It's not vengeful. It's forgiving. Even after years of mistreatment, when you feed it right, hydrate it, let it rest and calm the storm inside, it starts rebuilding, molecule by molecule. The truth is, your body doesn't want to suffer. It just wants balance. And balance begins in the place you've probably forgotten the most, is your gut. That's why before we talk about any cream or treatment, we need to talk about the first and most common mistake, the one that silently starts this cycle for millions of people every day. It's the habit that traps your gut in pressure and makes your hemorrhoids explode. Let's talk about it. Constipation. It sounds harmless, ordinary even. Everyone gets constipated sometimes, right? But what most people don't realize is that constipation isn't just a bathroom problem. It's the first spark that ignites the fire of hemorrhoids. Inside your body, every bowel movement is meant to be an act of release. The intestines contract rhythmically like waves, guiding waste out of the body in a natural flow. But when you delay that process, when you hold it in, when you ignore the urge, when your diet dries out the stool, those waves break. Pressure rises. Blood struggles to flow. Every time you strain, every second you push against resistance, the veins inside your rectum stretch like overinflated balloons. They swell, lose elasticity, and slowly tear. What starts as mild pressure becomes burning pain. What begins as occasional discomfort becomes chronic inflammation. And here's where it gets cruel. Constipation doesn't just cause hemorrhoids. It traps you in a cycle that feeds them. The pain makes you afraid to go to the bathroom, so you hold it longer. The longer you hold it, the harder it gets to evacuate. The harder it is, the more pressure builds. And that pressure is what literally makes your hemorrhoids explode with pain. It's a vicious loop that turns a simple habit into a slow destruction. I've seen people live like this for years, waking up with a stomach that feels heavy, carrying invisible weight through their day, pretending it's normal. They drink coffee to force movement. They eat less to avoid bloating, and every time they sit, they shift, looking for comfort that never really comes. But the truth is simple. The body isn't the enemy. It's begging for rhythm. It's asking you to listen. When you ignore the natural urge to defecate, the stool stays longer in the colon. The body keeps reabsorbing water from it, making it dry, compact, and hard. That's when straining begins, the single act that causes the most physical damage to hemorrhoidal veins. Inside the rectum, pressure spikes like a storm. Veins bulge, capillaries rupture, the tissue swells. And here's the part no one tells you. Every time that happens, microscopic scars form. Over months or years, those tiny scars change how blood circulates in the rectal area. The veins become stiff, less capable of contracting. The tissue weakens. What used to recover in a day now takes a week, or never fully heals at all. That's the real price of constipation. It's not just discomfort, it's degeneration. The good news? This mistake can be reversed faster than most people think. Your intestines are muscles, and like any muscle, they can be retrained. The first step is simple. Respond to your body when it speaks. Don't delay, don't suppress. The urge to evacuate is not an inconvenience. It's a signal of balance. The second step is water. Not coffee, not juice, not soda. Water. Hydration softens stool, supports peristalsis, and lowers the strain that tears your veins apart. And the third step is fiber. Not in excess, not as punishment, but as nourishment. When used correctly, fiber absorbs water, forms gentle bulk, and lets your intestines move smoothly without pain or pressure. But here's where many people go wrong. They add fiber without adding water. They overload the colon with dry material, making things worse. Fiber works like a sponge. It can heal or hurt, depending on how you use it. If you treat it with care, it becomes your ally. If you forget water, it becomes your enemy. So the first mistake, and the constipation cycle, is not just about what you eat or how often you go. It's about whether you let your body release what it no longer needs. Because when waste stays inside, it becomes poison. And when pressure builds, it turns pain into an explosion. Break the cycle. Listen to your gut. It's not shouting to annoy you. It's pleading to be heard. When you let your body release naturally, your gut breathes again. And when your gut breathes, your pain begins to fade. Now that you understand the first mistake, let's uncover the second. The one that silently fuels the fire from the inside out, every single day. If constipation is the spark, inflammation is the fire that keeps burning long after the smoke clears. It's silent, invisible, and for most people completely misunderstood. You don't see it, but you feel it, as heaviness after meals, as swelling that never seems to go away, as pain that flares even when you're doing everything right. This is the second mistake, feeding the fire inside. Every bite you take either cools or fuels inflammation. And in the modern world, we've built our plates like gasoline cans. Processed food, refined sugar, excess salt, alcohol, and poor hydration, they create a perfect storm inside the gut. When you eat these foods, your intestinal lining reacts like burned skin. The delicate cells that protect your bloodstream from toxins become raw and inflamed. Tiny openings form, allowing bacteria, fragments, and food molecules to slip through. Your immune system panics, attacking everything it sees. It releases cytokines, powerful chemical soldiers that don't just stay in your gut. They travel through your blood, reaching every corner of your body, including the veins around your rectum. This is why hemorrhoid pain feels worse after a weekend of indulgence. It's not coincidence, it's chemistry. Your gut becomes like a forest set on fire from the inside. The flames lick every branch, every leaf, every vein. You might not feel it immediately, but the damage spreads quietly. Tissue breaks down. Circulation weakens. The body's ability to repair itself slows to a crawl, and then one day it erupts, pain so sharp it steals your breath. But by then, the fire has been burning for weeks. I've seen this pattern in almost every patient I've treated. They say, "Doctor, I don't understand. I was fine yesterday." And I tell them gently, "You weren't fine yesterday, you've been inflamed for months." Because inflammation doesn't always shout. It whispers patiently, waiting for the right moment to strike. The foods that promise comfort, pastries, fried snacks, processed sauces, give pleasure now but pain later. Each meal that lacks color, fiber, and hydration adds one more log to the fire. But here's the hopeful truth. You can put the fire out. The gut regenerates faster than almost any tissue in the body. Within days of removing the triggers, the inflammation begins to fade. Within weeks, new cells replace the damaged ones. Within months, the entire ecosystem starts to heal. All it needs is peace and nourishment. Natural foods act like water over the flames. Leafy greens, fruits rich in antioxidants, clean proteins, and enough water to wash the system. These don't just feed your stomach, they restore your soil. They let your body remember what balance feels like. And when the gut calms, everything changes. Blood flows more freely. The veins around your rectum stop swelling. The pressure fades. The pain softens. It's not magic. It's biology returning to its natural state. If you've lived for years thinking your hemorrhoids are a local problem, this is your wake-up call. The root isn't down there. It's in here. Every time you reach for processed food, you make a small decision that echoes through your bloodstream. And every time you choose natural nourishment, you start to reverse the pattern. Your gut has no voice. It can't scream or plead. It can only send you signals: discomfort, bloating, inflammation, pain. Listen to them. They're not punishments, they're invitations. Feed your body what it was designed to receive, and it will repay you with healing. Because when the gut cools, the pain cools. And when the fire finally goes out, what remains is clarity, the quiet, steady rhythm of a body that's no longer at war with itself. If you've come this far, you already understand the physical mistakes, pressure and inflammation. But there's one more layer, one more trigger that keeps the fire alive even when your diet is clean and your body is hydrated. It's the invisible tension that lives not in your gut, but in your mind. The stress that tightens the muscles, slows digestion, and reignites pain without a single bite of food. Let's talk about it. Stress. It hides behind everything. Sleepless nights, tight jaws, shallow breaths. You don't see it, but your body does. It feels it in your pulse, in your digestion, in the silent tension that never fully lets go. This is the third mistake, ignoring the gut-brain connection. Your gut and your brain talk constantly, an unbroken conversation carried by nerves, hormones, and microscopic messengers. When your mind is calm, digestion flows. But when you're anxious, when your thoughts spiral, that conversation turns toxic. The gut tightens, blood flow slows. The muscles that should move, waist gently begin to spasm or freeze. The natural rhythm breaks, and constipation, inflammation, and pain rise again. I've seen this pattern more times than I can count. Someone cleans up their diet, drinks more water, adds fiber, and yet the pain doesn't disappear. Why? Because their mind is still at war. Stress floods your body with cortisol, the hormone of survival. In small doses, it keeps you alert. In excess, it destroys balance. Cortisol tells the body to conserve energy, to divert blood away from the gut toward the muscles. It shuts down digestion, leaving food to stagnate inside you. That stagnation feeds inflammation. It's the silent link between your thoughts and your pain. And it goes both ways. When your gut is inflamed, it sends distress signals back to your brain through the vagus nerve. You feel them as anxiety, irritability, fatigue. You think you're stressed because of work, but sometimes it's your gut that's stressing you. It's a cycle few people ever recognize. The brain inflames the gut inflames the brain, and the body becomes trapped in its own echo. You might notice it in small ways, clenching your jaw when deadlines approach, feeling your stomach twist when you're nervous, skipping meals because you've lost your appetite. Every one of those moments is your nervous system tightening its grip on your digestion. The gut is made of muscle and memory. It remembers the pace of your breath, the tone of your thoughts, the stories you tell yourself. If your days are filled with rush, fear, or anger, your intestines learn that rhythm, and they mirror it. That's why healing hemorrhoids is not just a physical process. It's emotional. It's neurological. You can't calm inflammation if your life keeps fueling it. You can't relax your veins if your mind never rests. True healing requires space, silence between thoughts, peace between breaths. It's not about perfection. It's about presence. Taking small pauses through the day, breathing before reacting, eating without screens, letting your body feel safe again. Because when your nervous system feels safe, your gut receives the message. It's okay to relax now. The muscles release, the blood flows, the body shifts from defense to repair. I once had a patient who lived under constant pressure, meetings, phone calls, endless deadlines. His diet was impeccable, his hydration flawless, but the pain kept returning. It wasn't until he began meditating, 5 minutes a day, nothing more, that his symptoms finally started to fade. Not because meditation is magic, but because his body finally felt heard. Your gut doesn't need perfection. It needs permission. Permission to slow down, to rest, to digest. When you begin to calm your mind, your intestines follow. The fire cools, the pressure drops, the pain softens, and this is where the circle closes. The first mistake creates pressure. The second fuels inflammation. The third is stress, keeps both alive. You can treat one, but until you treat all three, the cycle repeats. But when you break that cycle, something extraordinary happens. Your gut begins to breathe again. Your body starts to trust you. And healing becomes not a miracle, but a natural response to peace. Now that you understand the three mistakes, pressure, inflammation, and tension, it's time to see how they connect. Because behind all this science lies a truth that medicine often forgets. Your body was never your enemy. It has always been trying to heal. It just needed you to listen. Let's bring it all together. Healing doesn't begin in hospitals or pharmacies. It begins in awareness, in that quiet moment when you finally realize the pain isn't your enemy, but your messenger. For years, people have treated hemorrhoids as a local issue, something to soothe, to shrink, to silence. But the truth is, the body doesn't make mistakes. It makes signals. Every flare-up, every burning ache, every drop of discomfort is your body's way of saying, look deeper. Because the problem was never just pressure or food or stress. It was the disconnection between them, the separation between what you feel, what you eat, and what you think. When you see them as one, everything begins to change. Imagine your gut as a vast landscape that stretches beyond digestion, a field that connects every emotion, every cell, every vessel. When that field burns with pressure, inflammation, and tension, pain is inevitable. But when you cool the soil, when you feed it with peace and nourishment, it starts to heal itself, quietly, faithfully, completely. Your veins calm, your digestion smooths, your sleep deepens, the pain softens, and slowly, almost imperceptibly, your body begins to rebuild the trust that years of imbalance have eroded. You start to notice the signs: lighter mornings, easier movements, less fear when you sit, less pressure when you laugh. These are not miracles. They're the natural result of harmony returning to a system that was designed for balance. Because your body doesn't want to suffer, it wants to flow. When you stop fighting it and start listening, healing stops being a struggle and becomes a conversation, one where your body finally speaks and you finally understand. If you've come this far, you already know more about your pain than most people ever will. You've seen where it starts, how it spreads, and what fuels it, and now you know how to reverse it. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. Drink the water, eat the living food, move when your body asks you to, rest when your mind tells you it's tired, and most of all, let go of the guilt that pain often brings. You're not broken, you're healing, and healing is not an instant event. It's a gradual returning, a soft homecoming to yourself. Your gut will remember, your body will forgive, your pain will fade. But you must take the first step. Start today with one better meal, one deeper breath, one moment of stillness. Because every act of care you give your gut is a message to your body that says, we're safe now, you can let go. And once your body feels safe, healing follows, always. If this message resonated with you, stay with us, subscribe, and be part of a space where healing isn't rushed, where knowledge replaces fear and where pain becomes purpose. Because somewhere inside you, beneath the inflammation and fatigue, your body is still whispering the same truth it's always known. Healing doesn't begin when the pain stops. It begins when you finally understand where it starts.